Morning, this is the Secret Mountain Wilderness, and that's Lost Mountain behind me there. Thank Kami-sama I found it because I really need a break. Let's talk some anime.
Silent Mobius TV series.
Silent Mobius was a futuristic supernatural anime TV series in 1998. It's based on a manga and was also a successor, but not really a sequel, to a pair of short anime movies from 7 years earlier in 1991 and 92. Before the series gets really started, we get a prologue set in contemporary Tokyo, or more specifically the Tokyo of 1999, which is when the series was made. Jii-san Quietly and a few scientists and magicians are trying to open a gate to another dimension. Things go horribly wrong, and much of the planet ends up devastated by the accident. After this cold opening and credits, the rest of Silent Mobius, 26 episodes, will take place in a future Tokyo of 2024, a bleak place thanks to that 1999 disaster. It's plagued by lethal acid rain and ugly demonic creatures called Lucifer Hawk. The latter come from that alternate dimension, which is now called Nemesis. Rally Cheyenne is the founder and leader of the AMP, the Attacked Mystification Police, a small elite team of women within the Tokyo Police Department dedicated to combating the Lucifer Hawk. She's recruited an eclectic set of talented women for her elite squad. Mana, her assistant and deputy commander. Kitty, who has a partially cyborg body, lots of guns, and plenty of attitude. Nami, a traditional mystic protector fond of talismans and wards. Labia, an elite and inventive computer hacker. And Yuki, an esper. Finally, Rally has just invited a young woman, Katsumi Liqueur, daughter of the late Jii-san Liqueur, back to Tokyo. Rally knows that because of Katsumi's parents, she's going to become a powerful sorceress in her own right, and she's to be recruited into the AMP, assuming the Lucifer Hawk don't get to her first. Well, luckily for Katsumi, the Lucifer Hawk don't particularly want to kill her at this point. They'd really prefer to recruit her to their side because they call her the key to opening the gate to Nemesis. Unlike the earlier theatrical movies of Silent Mobius, which were under an hour each, the TV series has plenty of time to expand on the world of Tokyo 2024 and tell a much wider story. Each of the women of the AMP has a background as interesting and unique as the special abilities that got them into the AMP. The longer format of the TV series allows each of their stories to be told in turn. Although these are familiar from the manga, the TV series offers some slightly different takes on each. The series will focus more on Katsumi's story than the other AMP members, of course, but each member gets at least an episode or two to unfold their background. Some of those characters can initially come off as boorish or unsympathetic, and it takes a while to get to truly appreciate some of their finer points. As the series goes on, we'll add more cast as, for example, Roy, also known as Robert Device, and Ralph. Both fellow police officers join the supporting cast as love interests for Katsumi and Kitty. Plus, later in the series, the AMP will get another new member in Lum Cheng, a teenage mystic warrior. For some reason, my favorite new supporting character was this old guy, Avalanche Wong, Lum Cheng's mentor, who only shows up for a couple of episodes. I think I'm jealous of his hat and his beard. Plus, we'll get a few human allies of the Lucifer Hawk to put a more recognizable face on the enemy. Perhaps surprisingly for a series about a team of demon fighters, there aren't a lot of battles with those demons. I thought Silent Mobius was at its best in the early two-thirds of the series, where the interaction of the characters and their personalities had a chance to really bloom. As the stories drive more directly towards the series climax, these relationships begin to close off, and I wasn't sold on all the pathos. And there's one point in the series where the story abruptly jumps forward 6 months in time to advance the main story. Since I don't feel the passage of that time, I don't emotionally buy into all the changes that occur. But most importantly, the series does reach an actual climax, a conclusion to that main plot that runs through the entire series. which is not to say it isn't open to a continuation later on. Silent Mobius is based on an extensive manga by Kei Asamiya that's been translated, mirrored, and published in North America by Viz. The storytelling is intent on the dramatic tales of the AMP and doesn't have a lot of time for comic diversions or any fan service distractions. I thought it ended up a little flat in places. A lot of the dramatic elements didn't deliver for me. It's sort of a workmanlike job at animating the stories from the manga, but it rarely makes the emotional connection the story needs or exceed the source material in impact. Likewise, the artwork is simply a translation of the manga without a whole lot of imagination or flourishes added in. The background of Tokyo don't convey a real sense of a post-disaster world in recovery, and the animation doesn't provide a lot of excitement in the action scenes. I said before that this TV series wasn't a sequel to the earlier movies. Its story doesn't conflict too badly with the earlier movie, but there are some significant inconsistencies in the background story of Katsumi's early days. After watching the TV series, you might find the first movie in particular more interesting, since you'll have some more background to help appreciate it. The TV series used most of the same Japanese voice cast for the same characters as it did for that earlier movie, which is a nice touch for consistency. Bandai's English dub used an entirely new English voice cast for the series, which is adequate for the main cast, but a little weak on the supporting characters. The rest of the Japanese production staff, including the director and character designer, are new. The background music has 4 different credits in the series, and it's about as unmemorable as any work done by a committee would be. They should have borrowed Kurowa's mystic-sounding chants from the movie. Overall, I give the Silent Mobius TV series 3 stars. I enjoyed it as a companion to the manga, but I'm not sure it really distinguished itself from a pile of other TV shows if you're not already a fan of that story. Bandai has released the Silent Mobius TV series in the US on a set of 6 DVDs and collected it all into one of their thin packs.
Thanks for listening.